Hello and welcome back to the Unreal Presses live stream, something we're still calling Unreal at Night. Right now it's just me and James Craig. Say what's up, James.
Hey, how's it going? Back for more painting. And apparently some interesting subjects.
Oh yeah, and so we have other people coming, but there was a little mix-up. They don't know. They think we're streaming from Discord. I DM'd them the join link, so they'll be coming on in like five-ish minutes. Oh, here's LA. What's up? LA, is your mic on?
Yeah, it's on.
All right. So that's our third, and we've got, actually, we may be busting the limits of the free plan because we can only have 6 dudes on, and right now we have 3 with, I think, 2 or 3 more interested. Yeah, cool. Other than watching James, other than watching James paint, what is this?
I don't know. It looks like a Little Red Riding Hood knockoff.
All right, so okay. Other than watching you paint that, we're going to be doing a live reaction read of this very spicy article about Brandon Sanderson that dropped this afternoon. Apparently, it's extremely mean-spirited, and the people that have read it are really mad about it, even though everyone hates Brandon Sanderson.
Hey.
Well, most people.
Okay,
maybe
like
your
good opinions.
Go on.
No, I was just insulting James. It's nothing important.
Okay.
Anyway, tell me about Brandon Sanderson. Like, what is he known for?
He is the guy that took over and finished Wheel of Time after Robert Jordan died on it. And
cool.
People generally kind of say he did all right at that. And then he got rather famous because of his Mistborn trilogy, which he then turned into more than a trilogy. And, some other books that didn't really make much of an impact. He's currently releasing his Way of Kings super series, and you should care about him because he's the one that broke the bank on Kickstarter, raising like several $1 million for his secret projects.
Yeah, $40 million.
Secret projects.
Yeah, so Brandon Sanderson is a traditionally published guy. Like, he's the super lead. He's the one that makes Tor money so they can piss it away on hacks. And he gets all their marketing dollars because, well, people will show up and buy these boat anchors that he calls fantasy novels.
Right. So what's this article then, Ryan?
All right. Does anyone else want to read, or are you just gonna listen to me?
I'm gonna put it up on. Like I can read an article right now.
Well, right now or just in general? I don't know. Is that the?
I mean, I do have an allergic reaction to journalists, so that's a fair question.
Okay, I guess I could read the article.
Well, I'm sharing the tab now. How to turn off this?
Oh shit! This is a really nice program, man.
Yeah, man, it's fucking fancy digs and everything.
Nice.
So none of us.
Good.
Yeah, and I mean it was free. You could front me $20 a month to do like this shit legitly. Anyway, so none of us have read this article
yet.
If
I had $20 a month,
you would buy it on.
If I had $20 a month,
we all know that.
Well, what do you think I'm doing right now?
You're drinking cheaper liquor than if you had an extra $20 a month.
Correct.
Okay, so I don't have a dramatic reading voice, but I've read like the first three sentences, and there, listen, it opens strong. So this is the image they chose to use of him.
No. I want to ask something first because I habitually hate these kinds of news articles and so on. Is Wired a respectable outlet?
Dude, I think Wired is like millennial shit. It's like before my time, but I think it's a pretty big deal. I mean, when it was a big deal.
I brought this up to my father, and he was like, "What? They used to be a good magazine." I was like,
"Oh, maybe they're pre-millennial then." Oh, I forgot about comments.
Wild.
Yeah, we have live chat, man. Like, can you believe it? We got multiple people sneating us right now.
Yeah, like, please insult James Craig's painting skills.
So we've got Jay. He says Sneed. Guy Hayes, the guy who did our cover for Tales, says Sneed. Dr. Paranoia says Chuck, and I don't know what that is supposed to mean. Seems like a non sequitur.
I'm beginning to sense a theme here.
Jay is also confused as who Chuck is. A.S. Brunert, I don't know who that is, but he says greetings. Hi. Tukey's Mag is defending Sanderson's honor, which is...
Okay.
I mean, look, he's got that big-ass sword. He seems plenty capable. I don't know if he needs you, but...
I think it's, like, really trendy to hate on Sanderson because, well, I mean, he writes a style of genre fiction that a lot of people simply aren't looking for. And a lot of people are envious of his money, the same way that people are envious of Colleen Hoover's cult money.
Well,
he's a good guy, though, and I will defend his characters, especially because he has some of the best how-to-write content on the internet.
People are mad that Sanderson and Hoover's books are dominating the marketplace more than anything.
Yeah, it's the two genders.
Says that Mormons are weird, and that seems pretty universal.
Yeah,
they also seem kind of cool
though. With that.
Yeah, they seem all right, even though they're
like Muslims but American.
And we got one last Sneed. I guess I should ask people to like the video.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna pretend that I'm not doing that.
I'm on the stream. I suppose I should like it.
Yeah, let me go ahead and.
You can even subscribe to the channel if you're feeling really.
Yeah, like and subscribe, all that jazz. Anything to put off.
Still get algorithmic, interactions.
Who's echoing?
Nah, I just have the video open for a second to drop a like. To drop a like.
Yeah, drop a like too.
Wait, how do you read the live chat if you don't have the video open?
There's dude, StreamYard is fucking cool. They've got a whole apparatus. So one of these tabs is just for comments.
Oh.
Okay, so now we're finally, after 7 minutes and 40 seconds of prick tease, we're going to read this article. The title is Brandon Sanderson is Your God. He's the biggest fantasy writer in the world. He's also very Mormon. These things are profoundly related. Profoundly. I'm excited to see how profound.
We in for some good old-fashioned religious bigotry?
Bigotry? Well, yeah, some bashing.
Is it bigotry against Mormons?
Can you be racist to Mormons?
It's not racist.
Is it like a Mormophobia?
They aren't defined by the color of their underwear or something.
They actually are. No, the Mormons have special underwear, dude.
Yeah, it's not colored, though.
It's colored white. That's a color.
No, it is all the colors. White is the true rainbow.
White is a color. Shut up.
Are we about to have a color theory debate when I'm sitting here painting?
Legally in Missouri...
Mozambique can run from the bottle for like 20 minutes. I think I know what a color is.
Bruner wants to know what's to say that we can legally do something in Missouri. I don't know what he's referring to.
I think it means religiously discriminate.
Oh. I mean, you can do that legally anywhere, probably, except for California.
It depends on the religion you're attacking. Yeah. All right, so continue with the article.
Are we gonna read?
Dude, this is the essence of reaction videos. All right.
Yeah,
you can't just read the article.
Oh, of course. We have to shit talk.
There are people that do that.
Every sentence, yeah. So most years, Brandon Sanderson makes about $10 million. Last year, he made $55 million. This is obviously a lot of money for anyone. For a writer of young adult-ish, never-ending, speed-written fantasy books, it's huge. By Sanderson's estimation...
This guy doesn't understand what a pre-order is.
Oh, this motherfucker obviously hates the schlock Brandonson puts out.
He did not make $55 million the same way Eric July did not make $3.5 million in ISOM.
Yeah, he earned his publishers that much money.
Yeah, I mean, they sold.
Dude, you have to pay for the physical books. That is not revenue. Or sorry, it's revenue, not profit. That's like a middle school accounting error is to conflate those two things.
Well, yes, we're talking about journalists, not economists.
Okay, there's a lot of underwear talk in the chat right now. I'm really confused. They shower in their magic underwear apparently, and punish Unreal Press. Is this? I thought this was L.A. Is this the lemur fellow? He wants to assure us that Mormons do have underwear, for whatever reason. What sentence was I on? I've forgotten.
Like the second one. Sorry.
Okay. By Sanderson's estimation, he's the highest-selling author of epic fantasy in the world. On the day of his record-breaking Kickstarter campaign, 42 million of that 55 million, I came to the Wired offices ready to gossip. What a fact. How did he do it? Why now? Is Brandon Sanderson even a good writer? Nobody had the first clue who or what I was talking about.
It's fucking nerd.
Shows how in touch the nerds at Wired are, right? On one hand, who cares? Sanderson has millions upon millions of fans all over the planet. It doesn't matter that some losers at a single magazine, even if it is one of the nerdier ones, have never heard of him. On the other, the ignorance goes far beyond Wired. As far as I can tell, Sanderson, who has been topping bestseller lists for the better part of the 21st century, has not been written about in any depth by any major publication ever. Well, I mean, this doesn't change anything. Yeah, I called his publicist to confirm this. Well, we have a piece coming up in the LDS Living, he told me. That's LDS as in Latter-day Saints. It's a magazine for Mormons. Which makes sense.
I'd be very, fucking impressed if the LDS magazine was in fact a magazine for Jews.
Yeah. $42 million. Oh, someone's dropping a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. I miss when that was like everyone's humor, referencing hitchhikers are like Anchorman.
Dude, you just missed the early 2000s.
I mean, it's a hard time to miss, but it was somehow better than now.
I almost want to go back and rewatch the Hitchhikers movie and see after reading the book and see if I can like understand it, because it came out when I was like, I don't know, 12 or something, and it was so confusing.
Dude, if you read the book and then you watch the movie will only confuse you more.
Well, that's part of the point, ain't it?
No, it's actually a pretty simple piece of media. I just don't think the movie represented it very accurately. Because they changed the entire style of humor, which is integral to the plot.
I mean, all right, we're not talking about Hitchhiker's Guide. Back to Brandon Sanderson. Back to our Mormon God.
Yeah. Where was I? Which makes sense. Sanderson is extremely Mormon. What makes less sense is why there's a hole the size of Utah where the man's literary reputation should be. Is it because he mostly writes fantasy, so the snobs sneer, sub-literary genre? But then so do J.K. Rowling, Margaret Atwood, and George R.R. Martin, and their household names. Is it because none of Sanderson's work has been adapted for the screen? Well, he wrote 3 of the Wheel of Time books, and an adaptation of that series came out on Amazon Prime in 2021. Could it be finally because he's a weirdo Mormon? But so are Orson Scott Card, Glenn A. Larson, and Stephanie Meyer. Mormon, I mean. Only Orson Scott Card is also a weirdo.
I think Stephanie Meyer is pretty weird.
She's definitely fucking weird.
I don't actually know anything about Stephanie Meyer. Does this person just not understand that Mormons run the American publishing industry or something?
Apparently they also run the CIA. I think there's something there. I didn't know they also wrote Battlestar Galactica. Maybe we have a lot to thank the Mormon for.
Like, the only reason J.K. Rowling got big...
worth being grateful for.
Well, J.K. Rowling is British, so she wasn't pressured by the Mormons.
I almost felt like early life J.K. Rowling. Now, see if you can find any of our latter-day friends there.
I mean, the only thing you're going to find in her early life is domestic abuse.
Hey, Mormons can be wife beaters.
No comment.
Nobody reads Atwood outside Handmaid's Tale. Fantasy author, really? I mean, I haven't read even Handmaid's Tale. Does she have? I only know Onyx and Crate, and obviously that book. They both seem like sci-fi, though.
I have not read any yet. I've heard like genuinely good things about the prose, but I've heard more about Handmaid's Tale being a really weird fetish thing.
It is, yeah. And it's not my thing, but it's definitely a thing for a lot of people, mostly with bad taste.
Brunert says the adaptation was of the first 3 books, I believe. Sanderson wrote the last 3. Yeah.
Yeah, Sanderson's never going to be credited as Wheel of Time guy. He was basically the ghostwriter.
And I mean, given how the series performed, they're not getting to they're not getting to his books. Maybe it's the Mormons that run everything, not the Jews. I'd say they're like a team. They're tag teaming Western society.
Is that the same way they've teamed up with the Irish in the stock market?
This is a deep cut. I have no listen.
I think this is actually the conversation we should be having.
The Irish, Mormon, Jewish tag team?
Yes.
I mean, once you've added every group of people and say, well, everyone's in charge, it starts making sense.
Well, you know,
there's like 3 very distinct groups.
They forced out the Italians because they were getting too big, right? They had to team up to take down the Italians.
Back to the article.
It's like what? Black Americans are 13% of the population.
LA, stop. LA, stop. Just because you're in South Africa does not mean
YouTube can't suss out whether we're talking about racist statistics or normal statistics. So I guess that one's safe. Spicy topics to get yourself banned off YouTube. I mean, listen. Wait till we get to the author of this article. Do some early lifing there. Sanderson, when I eventually meet him in person, makes versions of these excuses, plus others, for his writerly obscurity. I mean, he's a professor at BYU. He's not, like, unknown. It's kind of fun to talk about until it isn't. And that's when I realize, in a panic, that I now have a problem. Sanderson is excited to talk about his reputation. He's excited, really, to talk about anything. But none of his self-analysis is, for my purposes, exciting. In fact, at that first dinner over Flopsy Utah Chinese, this being days before I'd meet his extended family and attend his fan convention and take his son to a theme park and cry in his basement. Flopsy.
If someone has a fan convention, they're not small.
Something's going wrong.
I don't know what he even means by it. I know what a flop house is. Is he saying whatever. We didn't even get... I find Sanderson depressingly, story-killingly lame. Uh-oh. He sits across from me in an empty restaurant, kind of lordly and sure of his insights, in a graphic t-shirt and ill-fitting blazer, which he says he wears because it makes him look professorial. It doesn't. He isn't. Unless the word means only believing everything you say is worth saying. Sanderson talks a lot, but almost none of it is usable, quotable. I began to think, this is what I drove all the way from San Francisco to the suburbs of Salt Lake City in the freezing cold dead of winter for previously frozen dim sum and freeze-dried conversation. This must be why nobody writes about Brandon Sanderson. So recklessly, I say what's on my mind. I have to. His wife is there, his biggest fan, always his first reader, making polite comments. I don't care. Maybe nobody writes about you, I say to Sanderson, because you don't write very well. The world unfreezes. He agrees. Holy cuck. If it was me there, it wouldn't have gone down like that.
I think Brandon Sanderson understands that he is not writing high prose, and he's okay with that.
I'm gonna be like real. Him understanding doesn't really absolve him. If we're, also shitting on him, which, if anything, puts me on the same side as whatever fag wrote this article. I don't want to be on that side. But he teaches like a lot of writing courses, and it's kind of his profession outside of being an author, is a professor of creative writing. So you have a responsibility there to
what?
Think you're a good writer, basically. Especially if you're teaching concepts and practices that you put to use.
So the reason I said specifically prose is because that's a style choice, and that's like saying I don't like hard to read books. Like people can say that because that's a subjective opinion of what makes for a good book. He writes a certain kind of style that people obviously enjoy, and he is able to bring books and entertainment to people through that style. But if you told him, well, you're no Jane Austen, you can't make a couplet like Shakespeare can. That's why you're bad. He'd just be like, well, you have high standards, and I agree.
I wouldn't say any of the pioneers of, let's say, bleached prose would call themselves bad writers, though. Also, somebody wants you to check your DMs. I think he wants to get it on the stream, maybe. Bruno,
all right, man. I'm staring at a mini.
Yeah, I enjoyed Sanderson's works when I read them. But this is when I was reading and enjoying fantasy in general. He's not standout bad compared to most contemporary fantasy, but that's just because most contemporary fantasy is kind of, to call it junk food is to give it overinflated its nutritional value. I've watched his videos. They were all pretty basic stuff. I agree with that as well. Sanderson, more like I'm snoozing, son. I guess it's a slant. Is that a slant rhyme? Not a Chinese rhyme.
That's a bit of a stretch. That's what that is.
Oh, a stretch rhyme.
No, like it's a stretch to even call that a rhyme.
Yeah, do puns have to rhyme? Wait, James said he's
it's
going
not even
somewhere.
A pun. It's just a very bare insult.
Oh, I guess we're behind. Okay.
Well, I checked them. I checked the DM. I responded. Stop gaslighting me.
What did the DM say, man?
Yeah, read us your personal emails if you wouldn't mind.
He's asking for the link to the stream. He's gonna be here in a sec.
Oh, cool. If he gets here in like the next 30 minutes, he might catch us in the second part of this article. Okay.
I had to double check that you actually said what you meant to say there. Dude,
all right.
No content.
Yeah, okay. So, because now he's just like relentlessly shitting on him. Like, whatever. It's not that Brandon Sanderson can't write. It's more that he can't not write. Graphomania is the name of the condition. The constant compulsion to get words down as much and as quickly as possible. The concept.
That's not his problem.
Listen, it sounds like psychology, and none of psychology is a thing, so it's as junk as everything else that comes out of the discipline. The concept of a vacation confuses Sanderson. He once said, because for him, the perfect vacation is more time to write, vacation. I fucked that up. His schedule is budgeted down to the minute months out to maximize the time he spends, rather counter ergonomically on the couch, typing away. Most days he wakes up at 1 p.m., exercises, and writes for 4 hours. Break for the wife and kids, then he writes for 4 more. After that, he plays video games or whatever until 5 a.m.
Or whatever until 5 a.m. Sounds like somebody I know. A powerful sleeping pill is all that works, finally, to get him, and the voices in his head to shut up. In the 5 months or so it has taken me to sit down and write this magazine story, which is 4,000 words long, Sanderson has published 2 books. During the COVID lockdowns, he wrote and or edited 7. 2 for his regular publisher, a graphic novel, and 4 more in secret, telling no one but his wife until he surprise announced as a Kickstarter in March 2022 to crowdfund their publication. Hence the $42 million raised in a month, by far the most successful Kickstarter ever. Since his debut, Elantris, in 2005, Sanderson has published 30 plus books, the biggest ones in excess of 400,000 words. There are far more if you count the novellas and graphic novels and stuff for kids. I've read 17 of the actual books, or maybe it's 20. Exactitude is pointless here, as the major books are all set in the same universe, which Sanderson calls the Cosmere. They're all meant to blur together. Okay, I got cut in there. I assume this is the kind of soy boy author that loves the Marvel multiverse. You'd think you would understand what a multiverse was.
Get his ass, Craig. Counter ergonomically is really amusing. Honestly, he should not have told us that it took him 4 months to write this. I would have kept that to myself.
Yeah,
what if this isn't like even a real person? What if this is a fake journalist?
Crack up this article in like probably 2 days if you really tried.
Like, after you met with Sanderson to call him a no-talent hack, you could have written this in the same night.
Yeah, it's like you take 4 months to produce this. I mean, we could have had ChatGPT write this article.
You want to throw this in ChatGPT and say, write a horribly mean-spirited article about interviewing Brandon Sanderson?
Listen, I just hope he goes for the jugular. If he's not calling him fat at any point in this article, I won't be able to respect him as a hit piece writer. Jay reminds us to show, don't tell, which is, one of Sanderson's most favored advices to give. I mean, I'm saying this as a joke. I mean, assuming he said it, because I haven't watched it, but he seems like a cliche.
He has an entire lesson about it. And by the way, I think one of the only things that story by Robert McKee gave me was a good, proper formulation of what show, don't tell actually means.
So what does
you show something by making it relevant to the moment. You tell something by stopping the moment to explain what the thing is. And that's actually a useful formulation.
That's quite intuitive.
Don't ask Jay what he wants to show. Punished Unreal Press. That's going to go really badly for you. Just as a warning.
Why do you think? I think that's why it's called Punished Unreal Press. It's so.
Okay. Where was I? All right. Most will hear this and think, at that rate, none of the words could possibly be any good. They'd be right, in a way, and that's what Sanderson agrees with. At the sentence level, he is no great gift to English prose. I mean, we all know this. And he hides behind it as well, so do his fans. The early books especially. My God. Here's a sample sentence. It was going to be very bad this time. Another one. She felt a feeling of dread. There's a penchant for redundant description. A city is tranquil, quiet, peaceful. Many things, from buildings to beasts, are enormous. Dark places, more thesaurically, are caliginous. On every page of Mistborn, his first and probably most beloved series, a character sighs, frowns, raises an eyebrow, cocks a head, shrugs, or snorts.
Oh God! Sometimes where I got that from?
Oh boy,
that's a bad habit.
Is Sanderson your patron saint of authors?
I have read a lot of Sanderson by word count.
Oh boy. I mean, I guess technically I have as well. I've read 2.5 of the Way of Kings books and Mistborn.
Honestly, I think where it actually comes from is the influence anime has on rotting my brain.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Oh, boy. Oh shit! Hold up. You guys bicker for me.
Okay.
Sanderson Cope. It's not meant to be good. No, there's a difference, dude. All right, look. Sometimes you want light entertainment. Sometimes what you want is a low level of effort to get correspondingly a low reward. You don't always want to sit down with a dense text where you have to cross-reference, what is the structure of the meter here. Sometimes you do just want to turn it off, and you should judge literature accordingly. If his books, genuinely, if the book is not meant to be, the next addition to the English canon, you shouldn't judge it as if it were trying to be.
I'm back. I do find the Sanderson cope that it's not meant to be good all too common. Like, the brother is like what is he, worth $100 million now? He can put some more effort into the prose. He won't go broke.
Hey, you don't know. Maybe some of the secret projects are, because you don't actually know what kind of pressure he's under by the big publishers. I mean, dude, I just want to point out, if you make the comparison to, movies, you have to think of him as the Fast and the Furious franchise. And are you really going to go, oh, the Fast and the Furious franchise, the highest grossing franchise in all of Hollywood history? Such terrible movies.
I mean, most people don't think of them as... They think of them as the lowest common denominator film.
Like,
which
I've
is
never
not
met
what
anyone,
people.
not even in Africa, who tells me the Fast and Furious movies are actually good. They're like the McDonald's of movies, man.
Yeah,
The
but people
Burger
like
King of
them.
movies. Well, yeah, people like McDonald's, man.
Okay, I'm going to introduce Try Detect. It's who you invited. He curates the lit directory or something.
Yeah, he's going to have to
director.
give his credentials as soon as he gets in. But
Yeah,
get his ass in here.
I've got him muted, so. But I want to say before.
I mean, I don't think he's going to start spewing gamer words. Like, no more than you are.
Well, I mean.
That's a shame.
Hey, you want to introduce yourself? Or give yourself
Hello?
Howdy.
Hey.
What's up? I'm Try Detect. I manage the WG Pastefin, and I also write lots of anime stuff.
Uh-oh. Are you a Sanderson fan?
Pretty cool.
I don't know who this guy is.
Okay. He's right up your alley.
He Western anime.
Oh, shit. Zuli Elitspa says, Sanderson, I was only intending to be retarded. How do you feel a compulsion to write constantly all day, every day, and not gain any intuitive skill to make it naturally well thought out? That's a great question. I've heard that obesity lowers your IQ over time, so that may be a reason.
Is that for personal research? Did you check if you were getting stupider yourself?
That's a stink bomb in the chat. How do you feel a compulsion to write constantly all day, every day, and not get fat? Sanders Shills cannot answer. So, Try Detect, you want to react to this article with us, and we can talk about... What do you want to talk about exactly? Are you trying to sell something? I mean, we don't do any vetting before we let people on the show.
Yeah, it's like you can bring your mother on. Don't, but you can.
Yeah, definitely don't do that, because I'll be in her DMs tomorrow.
I just want to see what this article says, and then we can talk more.
You come to the wrong place, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are not making any progress on this article, but I'm making progress on painting hairless Red Riding Hood.
I'm making progress on a bottle of Tipo Tinto. It counts for anything.
Jealous. We can't even see you paint that thing because we've got to dedicate the entire page to this article.
Yeah, well, that's the plan, is when you finally come back to me, it's just going to be, done. And you're all going to be like, that was gray when he started.
Okay. Where do we leave off? Okay. I count 7 books in which one of the characters frets about their metaphors. I have trouble with metaphors, one literally says. Of his own work, Sanderson has said, I detest rewriting. Oh man, that's so base. I write for endings, and I write to relax. It shows. He writes, by one metric, at a 6th grade level. Ouch. Degu calls us weebs. I'm not a weeb. Dragon Ball is normal. It's not even anime.
I am a weeb. That's just an honest description.
I have actually good taste in anime.
I mean, I don't want to even explore what you think good taste in anime is.
We had an enormous... Was that this morning we had the anime flare-up, or was that yesterday?
Oh, that was yesterday.
Was it?
What was that about?
Christ.
Let's have that argument again, actually.
Someone it's the Hunter x Hunter fanboys. I think it's God's gift to the world.
Look, man, I'm not a Shotacon. I'm not into Hunter x Hunter. It's just not for me.
I have tried... Alright, no, we'll save that. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. There's no fucking way this is clippable. So let's put that plan to rest. Here's where I'll stop using Sanderson's words, written or spoken, against him. It's not fair. He's simply not, I'll say it again, very quotable. I spent days with the man. I watched his YouTube videos, made a dent in his podcast empire, most of it, incredibly, about writing. Like his books, it all blurs together. I typed some 40 pages of notes for this story, and who knows how many pages of transcripts the AI spat out when I fed it the many hours of recorded audio.
Fucking called it.
Now that I'm writing, I find I'm referring to none of it. Possibly, this is the influence of Sanderson himself on me. Graphomaniacally get thoughts down, have fun, write for the ending. So I will. This story has an ending, I promise, and I'm sprinting toward it as if to a vacation. I like the best of Sanderson's endings. My ending should surprise you. Oh, I misread that. Because, you see, Sanderson actually did say one thing to me. One miraculous thing that stuck. That I remember these 5 months later with perfect clarity. Just 7 words, but true ones. You're not ready for them just yet. You need more story first. For now, there's only Sanderson, both wordful and wordless, the best-selling writer no writer writes about, because writers only know how to talk about words. Sanderson's readers, loving legion, care about something else. Here's where I'll stop using Sanderson's words against him. Let me use my own words instead. Favorite porn category. I don't even want to know what he's referring to.
Is gore porn?
Oh boy.
Not on mainstream websites.
Why did we open that?
If someone's asking for favorite porn categories, it's because they don't know any categories other than vanilla and cuck.
Based. Oh, wait. It's not what I meant to say.
Pretty good insult, man. I'll use it.
No one's going to care about the ending if the rest of it sucks, though. And likewise, if the ending sucks, it's going to discredit the journey to get there. What the fuck? Also, this guy teasing this hard for his ending just sort of indicates his lack of faith in this article, which is weird because it's a flagrant hit piece. I guess it's because Sanderson fans don't like reading, so they probably wouldn't finish this article otherwise.
Or this is a plot. You always have to be worried that you're actually being taken for a fool with these kinds of things.
I'm not worried. I'm pretty confident we are.
Go on reading. Come on.
So much shit is happening right now. 10 seconds to go until the launch. The lights are flashing, the music thumping. This is sick, someone whispers behind me as a Cosmere's worth of nerds count down the remaining seconds. At 0, an enormous applause. Then the VP of Merchandising and Events walks out. This is Dragonsteel 2022, the second annual convention for Sanderson's Worlds and Works. At the first one, the year before, 1,200 fans showed up. At this event, a 2-dayer in November, attendance is closer to 5,000. Even though the con is being held in the biggest venue in downtown Salt Lake City, the Salt Palace Convention Center, fans are turned away from panels left and right.
Hold on. There's a literal location called the Salt Palace.
Trip me up.
And I have not heard salt memes about that.
Is Brandon Sanderson the name of a Simpsons character? No, the only Simpsons character that writes is Thomas Pynchon. Okay. The first morning, I was panting by the time I... Oh, so he's not going to call Sanderson fat because he's also fat. I was panting by the time I reached the end of the line, down multiple city blocks, abutting stony Mormon Gothica. Some 7,000 people are expected for Dragonsteel 2023. The VP of Merch and Events tells me later. And in 2024, the year Sanderson plans to release Book 5 of the Stormlight Archives, his biggest franchise, the one with the 400,000 word books, a full 12,000 people. This man's use of semi-stops is killing me. The Dragonsteel planners will need to think bigger.
It's a lot of magic cards, actually.
Oh my god. Nah, we can't even look at that. You two are gonna get... We can't afford for this to go on for like an hour and a half.
I can give you clippable content about Magic the Gathering. I actually had an interesting thing. But go on with the article.
For now, the fans, even the turned away ones, are in unconquerable spirits. As is typically the case at these things, there's a general air, warmish, body-odored, of unself-consciousness. By my rough count, some 3/4 of the attendees are men, boys, blurring together in a mass of pale, fleshy nerdery and Sanderson-appropriate graphic tees. The women, fewer in number, tend to be the better cosplayers. Lots of billowing cloaks, sprightly makeups, precious weapons.
It's a prey-predator relationship.
You can see where his attention was.
Yeah.
Odds on him being a male feminist?
I mean, 100%. He's trying to take down his competition in the obese guys trying to score category. By my rough... There's an arena for refereed fights. If you don't come prepared, never fear, because the sprawl of purchasable Sandersonalia is endless. Art, clothes, figurines, games, jewelry, ornaments.
You know, Sandersonalia, I'm just going to tap out right now.
I hate how much this queer is making me like trip over made up words. Like, here's an extra 4 syllables for you, buddy. Special edition books, a letter opener, not available yet, in the style of the telepathic sword named Nightblood. I talk to as many of the fans as I can, some in their teens, others in their 60s, from here in Utah and from as far away as India. That explains the smell. Norway and Australia. They're sweet. Many of them have been reading Sanderson since the beginning, since Elantris. A teenage girl announces, I'm here basically because I'm a huge nerd. I'm going to regret the India thing. Everyone is smiling, sharing info and panel gossip. One guy from Massachusetts tells me that he just spent $170 on a rubber sword. Not Nightblood, this one called Myalaran. It's bigger than he is. He won't be able to take it on the plane home. Another guy, 41 years old, tells me he made his sword, Firestorm, they all have names, himself. It took more than a year, on and off, to design, and then 6 weeks to 3D print. I see a young couple with very young kids. Are you indoctrinating them into this fantasy land, I ask, gesturing to the stroller. Trying to, the dad says. The one question I ask practically everyone is, why Sanderson? I only need to ask it a few times to realize the answer is always the same. It's a two-parter. First part, Sanderson's characters. They feel like real people, everyone insists. Multiple parents say they've named their kids after their favorites. Whoops. Usually the princely protagonists who've overcome various depressions and triumphed oh boy, I'm gonna get exposed here. Chivalrically. I've done I've done some things I'm not proud of, one man tells me. Then he read the first Stormlight book, The Way of Kings, and now, reformed, he has a 2-year-old son named Kaladin. That's really embarrassing. Like, respectfully, that's really
Kaladin's not the reformer character, though. Should at least have been Dalinar or something, I think.
Dalinar may be less embarrassing than naming your kid Paladin with a K. The second answer to why Sanderson...
with a K?
Yeah,
I did Way of Kings via Audible, like most people. So, genuinely did not know it was spelled stupid.
I only listened to the third on audiobook. But that explains how you got through those books. You
Pretty much,
have to read them.
Genuinely good. Like, the narrators are quite talented.
Funko Pop Collector Convention. Alright. Is his worlds. This is probably what he's best known for. World building, as it's called. Sanderson dreams up far-off lands. Sometimes cities, sometimes whole planets, with rules and systems and politics. And then he populates them with characters whose fates are also the world's. So the second answer is just the inverse of the first. You can't have world building without character building. Some characters die, some become gods. The good ones, and most of them are good, are very good, inspiringly good. No one has sex, they only save lives. Well, God forbid. What nobody, not a single person, complains about in my 2 days walking the palace floors.
I never noticed.
Listen, Sanderson worlds are asexual. It's fine. It's Sanderson's writing. If they mention his sentences at all, it's merely to acknowledge that they're easier to read than, say, Tolkien's, whose work they may well graduate to, with Sanderson lighting the way. Sanderson himself admits he was late to Tolkien, in whose shadow he now happily lives, even as he tries to write beyond it. Still, I can't help but try to trip them up. Surely he's not a great writer, I prod, polite, embarrassed smiles. They're suspicious of me, I can tell. Probably because you have a long hook nose. They probably think I don't know my Kaladin from my Adolin. I do. I even like Kaladin. The scene midway through Way of Kings where Kaladin talks to a mysterious stranger, it's Hoid, on the Shattered Plains. A story doesn't live until it's imagined in someone's mind, Hoid says. Do I know what that means? Not exactly. And that's exactly why I read science fiction and fantasy. Why I've pretty much only read science fiction and fantasy my entire life. For those plays at profundity, at the essence of storytelling beyond words.
How does he not understand what that means?
I don't know. He says he reads exclusively sci-fi and fantasy, so he might be kind of retarded. Respectfully.
Respectfully?
Respectfully.
I think that's going too far.
With my apologies to the SFF general. Storytelling beyond words. But what am I saying? Gibberish, most likely, and hypocrisies. Sanderson is a bad writer. I've already said it. Here at the convention, most of the panelists aren't even writers. People don't care about sentences. They care about Sanderson. I sit through multiple panels about this motherfucker reads science fiction and fantasy. Why is he... I don't understand. What's the hang up about, like, no one really caring about the prose stylings of what they're reading? That's the fucking genre. Now. This is in 1922. I sit through multiple panels about the future of his publishing company, which is called, as is the convention, you'll note, Dragonsteel. Post Kickstarter campaign, the company is now 50-some people / Mormons / Mormons strong. This is the year of Sanderson, the panelists keep saying. 4 new books with special swag for backers. New toys and sparkly books. Now they're talking about the warehouse expansion efforts. Now they're talking about a possible future bookstore housed in a castle or something. When will the Dragonsteel amusement park be built? Someone asked. The audience hoots. All this, I think to myself, is not the spirit of fantasy. If it's world building, it's only world building one thing, the world builder's world. What? 3 days later, I pull up to Sanderson's built world. His home's in a gated community of American Fork, Utah. There are 3 properties. On the left is the newest one, the subterranean man cave, unofficially known as the supervillain lair, officially the Ammonite Club, completed with 28-seat industry caliber movie theater. The middle structure is the Sanderson family manor, where his 3 boys play. On the right is the Cosmere house, which serves as the Dragonsteel's HQ. Props and merch and books for days. That's where I'm staying. Specifically, wow, this nigga housed you and everything, huh? Specifically in the Elantris suite. It has cover art from the book on the walls, gold and silver frilly things everywhere, and the world's best shower. I already knew about the shower because a few nights earlier I'd gone out for drinks with a friend of Sanderson's I met at the con. After contextualizing Sanderson's success for me, because basically he gives fans exactly what they want, she insisted that I stay a night in the Elantris suite. And you have to try the shower, she said. I'll text him. The next morning I woke up to... She said.
Hooking up at the Sanderson convention.
Yeah, he was really eyeballing all those well-dressed cosplay girls, right? Respect, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? There are some things... I ain't finishing that sentence. Oh, you wait for me to finish that sentence. You will be waiting here.
Okay. Oh, there's too much shit happening right now. Sanderson's assistant is his wife's sister. Okay. As I orient myself within the Cosmere house, I keep running into his nearest and dearest, his doppelganger brother, multiple siblings-in-law, neighbors, people's children, friends Sanderson formed a writers group with almost 30 years ago, back in college at Brigham Young University, when he was a nobody and worked the graveyard shift at a hotel so he could write the nights away. Dragonsteel is a company, one that's shaking up the book industry. It's also Sanderson's extended family. The writers group still meets every Friday, which is what today happens to be. This is so much fucking filler, dude. They are the most PG gathering of writer types I've ever been to. There are chips and sodas, someone's baked an apple crisp. Before the meeting kicks off, I corner some regulars in the kitchen. They're gossiping, cracking jokes. One, Dragonsteel's new head of narrative, lets slip that Sanderson feels no pain. It's true, Sanderson's sister-in-law says. Even though he writes for 8 hours a day on the couch, he has no backaches. The hottest of hot sauces cause scarcely a sweat. At the dentist, he refuses Novocaine for fillings. When I ask Sanderson later to confirm this, he does, but asks if I really have to print it. I'm sorry, I say, I really do. The writer's group is standard stuff. What's this character's motivation? Can the reader follow that fight sequence? Sanderson gives feedback with half his brain, the other half occupied with autographing his books. It's only afterward that the real talk happens, such as Star Wars debates. This is kind of like fucking crazy long. When those subside, I bring up the pain thing again. Turns out Sanderson doesn't seem to feel pain of any kind, even emotional. I mean, he looks like it, honestly. On roller coasters, he's dead face, while his wife is shrieking. It's sick and wrong, she says, smiling. She likes to say she married an android. For his part, Sanderson actually, at this moment, looks pained. He might not feel, he says, but his characters do. They agonize and cry and rejoice and love. It's one of the reasons he writes, he says, to feel human. The conversation eventually turns to a theme park called Evermore, located just down the street. Though unaffiliated with Sanderson, it's Sandersonian to the core. You show up, hang around taverns, and embark on quests. We have to go, I say, but it's falling apart, everyone groans. Something to do with bad management. There's a 4-hour YouTube video all about it. Still, Sanderson seems tempted. We leave it at that. I go back to the Elantris suite, where I finally take that shower. There are multiple shower heads. I turn everything on. Water hits me from every angle. I don't cry, but I could.
Why are we supposed to give the slightest of shit
this is so
about this
crying right now.
bastard's shower?
I'm like, gotta do a stream on WG Lore at some point. I mean, cosplay puss is a forgotten gem. Fat gamer girl.
Let's do the WG Lore right now.
Yeah, we could do that like in like an hour when we finish this fucking article. I can't get over that his characters aren't allowed to have sex. Guess that's why they feel like real people to his fans. Fucking Sanderson is old, dude. You guys are taking so many L's tonight.
Oh, that's actually... I'll give him credit for that insult right there.
Watashi... I don't speak this. CCRU Cyber... That mean my name is Yoshikage Kira. Does anyone know where I can torrent English dubs of foreign films? I am trying to find some old France films, but I can only find subs. No, no. I don't.
It's time to learn French.
Yeah, man. You watch dubs,
hey, on
dude?
the bright side, Rumble is popping right now, so when this gets banned, we can switch over there and say we were canceled.
Is Rumble popping? Because I did all that work.
Dude, you didn't hear Steven Crowder basically brought something like 30 million people over?
Holy shit. Well, let's get on that. I ported all our shit to, what's the other one called? Odyssey? That was a waste of time.
Odyssey's a waste. You gotta do backups to Rumble now.
All right, I'll get on that after I finish reading this article next month. I do cry the next night, my last in Utah. We're down in Sanderson's below-ground movie theater in plush red leather seats that not only recline, but also have adjustable headrests. He wants to show the specs off, so he plays the opening scene of The Greatest Showman. I don't tell him that, while I like musicals, I hate The Greatest Showman, and especially Hugh Jackman. The scene starts. The chair shakes with otherworldly sound. When lame Hugh, opens his mouth to sing, I can't help it. I burst into tears. Dude, what's happening to me? This story isn't coming together. To my mind, I still haven't gotten anything real from Sanderson, anything true. I'm not the first person he has toured around his lair to politely gawk at his treasures and trophies in his hallway of custom stained glass renditions of his favorite books, Tolkien, Harry Potter, the Belgariad. I'm certainly not the first person he has told about one favorite book in particular, Barbara Hambley's Dragon's Bane, which an English teacher put in his hands when he was 14, probably the day he became a fantasy writer, or how he first got published, or about the phone call he got from Robert Jordan's widow asking if he might finish the Wheel of Time series. These stories are all over the internet, on his website and many others. Sanderson has lived so much of his life and fame openly, self-promotionally. It's a major reason for his success. One woman I talked to at the con made sure to tell me that which of Sanderson's pets was her favorite. It's Jello, the parrot. After I recover from Hugh and 4D, Sanderson collects his 15-year-old and we all drive to dinner. This time the food is better. So I'm just imagining Jay reacting to that last sentence. Anyway, Utah Japanese. Sanderson and I order ramen. He salts his. Then I watched his son salt his yakisoba. I could cry again. Instead, I asked Sanderson if he's ever so moved by a scene that he writes that he cries. Sometimes, he says, though it might not be the scenes people expect. He won't say more, but it's something. This conversation from 5 months ago, remember, I recall fairly clearly. We're heading towards something now, some kind of admission. I can feel it. When Mormons ask God for a sign, they speak of a burning in the bosom. Say you're a kid wondering if you should be a fantasy writer when you grow up. You might ask God what he thinks. If there's a burning in your bosom, that's probably a yes. So I press Sanderson on the moments he has felt the burning. He says they're too intimate, too special to talk about. That's fine. Then let's talk about Mormonism in another way. Let's talk about it as it relates to fantasy. Because it's no secret, Mormonism is a fantasy of religion. The science fiction edition of Christianity.
Hold on, we literally have a science fiction religion. It's called Scientology.
That's what I was thinking. Fucking Lel, what is Utah food? Listen, as far as I can tell, it's reheated versions of better people's food. Imagine admitting to fantasy writing. Huge L. I've heard it called, with its angels and alternative histories, embodied gods, visions, and plates made of gold. I asked Sanderson if I've got the ultimate promise of the religion right. The ultimate promise being, as I understand it, that we humans will, if we're good, marry well, and memorize the passcodes, eventually pass into the highest kingdom and come into our divine inheritance. We'll become gods, in other words, and get our own planets. Sanderson doesn't balk at the characterization. He agrees that that's the gist. And he knows where I'm going. He knows I want to know if what he's doing, writing fantasy books, is fundamentally, in some way, some very central way, Mormon. Of course it is, he says. The world building, the gods incarnate. I am losing it as this goes on. The systems of magic. So much of Mormonism is about rules. So are his books, where miracles don't happen unless you put in the work. That's when, between mouthfuls of pork cutlet, Sanderson makes the connection between his work and the work of his Heavenly Father explicit. This is when he speaks the 7 words of truth. The only words I'm certain he has never said in quite this way ever before. As I build books, Sanderson says, as I sit there for once entirely enraptured, God builds people. Honestly, someone in the server made this connection between Mormons and fantasy writing, that this is somehow, they don't call it praxis in religion. I don't know what they call it, doctrine or whatever, to write this kind of stuff.
Don't know, I'm not Mormon.
You seem kind of Mormon. Like spiritually.
I mean, I'm actually rather open about the fact I'm a heretic.
Oh yeah. RIP. Only a mentally ill Mormon with graphomania can handle the mobs of consumer readers. We should be kneeling. This from Miles. Stephanie Meyer was also Mormon, yeah. Maybe it's just a Mormon thing to be really talented at being mid with wide NPC appeal. Damn, I wish I was Mormon. We descend on one final world. After dinner, it's time for Evermore, the rundown theme park. Dude, I feel like I'm going to get blue balled here. You guys treated this like it was the hit piece of the century. I expected him to call Sanderson the N-word. I'm getting nothing right now.
Hey, it wasn't me. This is a blind react for me. That's why I keep interrupting.
I mean, yeah.
It was Miles and who was the other one? Tukey?
David Herod, Slip, yeah, Tookies. Does he want me to pronounce it Tookies? Because that's not natural to my tongue. We descend on one final world. Yeah, it's a park. The night is misty and cold, caliginous. I remember one of Sanderson's friends saying the park is only open at night to conceal the decay. I believe it. As we walk around, Sanderson narrates, "Those are bad prosthetics. That's half a costume. Shouldn't there be more skeletons in this dungeon? At least the apple cider is good." Fat. He gets recognized by everybody. I guess that's inevitable when you go to Fantasyland with a fantasy legend who has literally just purchased a $5 million plot of land across the way for who knows what world-building reasons. Sanderson's son and I start keeping a silent tally. Every time a new fan walks over, we hold up fingers behind Sanderson's back. We quickly run out of fingers. One girl says she wants to take Sanderson's writing class at BYU when she grows up. Yikes. A surprising number of guys asked for
imagine
autographs.
paying money for something free online.
Imagine paying money to learn writing from Brandon Sanderson, respectfully. A surprising number of guys asked for autographs for my girlfriend. Lots of people have already finished the latest book, which came out like yesterday. Sanderson shines in these situations. He's your god, but he's your friend too. He's also unafraid to drop hints about future projects. He does this to me at certain points. Will they ever make a big movie version of one of your books? I ask him in a fairy garden. Sanderson makes meaningful noises. Ew. Even though your systems of magic seem unfilmably complex. More meaningful noises. Yee. Everything's been optioned, he says, but then things revert and discussions continue. No. I suspect there will be big announcements soon. There have to be. Sanderson is bigger than ever. A good writer? Who knows? What I do know now is this. So many of us mistake sentences for story. But story is a thing. Things happen. Characters changing. Surprise endings. As I drive us back to the house, drop off the kid, and then stay in the car with Sanderson a bit longer, talking about life, talking about worlds, my ending takes shape. The surprise is that Sanderson's ending all along. The ending of all his best books. A character becomes a god, and the god beholds his planet below. If Sanderson is a writer, that is all he is doing. He's living his fantasy of godhead on Earth. I will never take...
That was awful. How would you guys rate that prose?
Dude, that was that was a marathon for me, nigga. I'm done.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Caligonous. I leave for about 20 minutes and y'all are still on the article. No longer. No longer.
We are. We're just reacting to it right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, what is there to react to? I want to talk about Mormons.
No, that's actually not as sensational as I was expecting. I'm with you, man. Like, where are the slurs?
I feel misled and lied to. Mormons are weird about writing fantasy. I gotta be real with you. There's definitely some conspiracy there. Also, there are a lot of them in the CIA. I feel like those are connected. I got an ego stroke at least and feel more motivated to finish my reader magnet. Reader magnets, boy. I want to know what his idea for
reader
that is.
magnets are one aspect of marketing that is not a money sink. It's actually good advice.
What's a reader magnet?
It's a fancy marketing term for give free shit.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Literally, it's the writing equivalent of free samples. That's why I have an entire web novel for free.
Yeah, so what we do is we try to give ebooks and stuff for free, which, yeah, and hopefully people will follow our other stuff and check us out. I mean, there's a better way to do it probably, but I don't want to be a fucking miserly kind of nigga anyway. Dagu wants an innocent Mormon girl, don't we all? Brandon Mull is a great Mormon fantasy author. Who is that? I feel like I've heard of him.
That is not a name I'm familiar with.
The Beyonders trilogy. Alright. The thing about Brandon Sanderson is I think he's had a horrible effect on the genre. Because fantasy is half people writing heavily intersectional pieces with a lot of bi-POC and neglected voices or whatever. And then the other half is now just Sanderson clones, putting no effort in line-by-line writing.
Okay, so I think that you are slightly misattributing that. Because I think Dungeons & Dragons is actually the root cause of world building. Brandon Sanderson is merely the one who succeeded with world building.
I mean, he also greatly encourages it. But world building's gotten completely out of control as a focus of writing.
Yes, I feel it's weird being the guy I'm sort of defending world building right now because I sort of have to. I write an epic fantasy where he's literally conquering the world. I have to detail all the gods, all the nobles, all the kingdoms, all the cultures, all the things. Because book by book by book, he's showing up, swinging his sword around, and conquering. But people will get so hung up on I gotta build this world, and it's like, dude, you're writing a story about a dude surviving in the frozen tundra. Like, you do not need to know whether it's a monarchy or a theology or if the third uncle's son is gay. Like, come on.
I think those are pretty interesting facts.
Yeah, if you're like, I think just people would be better off just writing fantasy encyclopedias and like paying for illustrations and trying to sell those.
Oh, there's some people doing literally that.
Yeah, this doesn't really lead to.
Don't know if it's succeeding.
World building does not take precedent over plot and character. Honestly, I feel like it should flow. I mean, this is not even Tolkien did explicit world building, right? But I honestly would prefer if it just flowed either from plot and character, or from specific combining of like certain myths and legends. So in the study of that, you build the world your thing takes place in. World building is enjoyed by failed writers and simpletons because it requires no structure, tone, cohesion, or the diligence that goes into writing a story.
Truth.
He's cooking. World building is best when it's done alongside the plot progression. Yeah, too many writers fall into lore dumping. Fantasy encyclopedia is a dope idea, isn't it? That'll be $20. If I catch you using it without paying my $20, I'm gonna sue. That's why I post world building stuff irrelevant to the stories and articles on my Substack. That's an interesting idea.
That is a good way to turn a interest into fanaticism. There is a fine way of transforming someone from like a casual fan to a mega fan, and part of it is managing to claim more and more of their time. By the way, did we just completely lose LA during this? Is LA off like drinking liquor and reading tarot cards again?
So the term Sandersonalia sent him into like a horrible depression spiral. So he's been drinking until he passes out, I think.
Okay then.
I mean, honestly, we got a freaking hour and 7 minutes out of that article. I'm kind of mad about it. I do want to, like, we brought Try Detect on for a reason. Craig, can you please fill us in?
Try Detect has to be on, and Try Detect is a friend that reads my web novel.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his stories.
So, yeah. Like I said, like you get a fan, then you get more and more of their time, and they become a mega fan. Like, literally just told you this a second ago.
I don't know if I would consider myself a mega fan, though.
Not yet. Actually, hey, you're a great example because you read my web novel. What do you think about world building? Do you think I do too much, too little?
I don't know, because I don't read a lot of fantasy with extremely heavy world building. And most of the time when I'm reading stories, I'm just there along for the ride. Only when I do a reread do I notice like flaws and stuff.
Okay, so what I can conclude from that is I have not annoyed you with the world building.
Yeah, it's woven into the narrative well enough.
All right. Sorry. I am still... Oh, you put me on full screen. I have gotten to the point of trying to clean up a rubber face. Is this even focusing? So any mini painter will tell you that getting eyes correct is the most difficult thing you can do in painting.
Yeah, it's a struggle. My dad paints miniatures too.
It's a very relaxing hobby in a way that writing is not.
I feel like I would get stressed out over it too much.
Miles, we're all being psyoped at all times. I'm sorry to tell you. So why do you maintain this database of WG authors? It's a good question for you because we have another guy that's also pretty dedicated.
Why do I maintain it? I just thought of making it because I look in other generals around the 4chan boards, and sometimes they would have paste pins, the stuff people have made. So I thought, hey, let's do that for this writing general since there's a lot of us here.
Good call. So, by the way, you actually like track down and buy the books from that list, don't you?
Yeah, I tried to.
Have we been overlooking anyone? Are we sleeping on getting an interview?
I think you got everyone. Because we don't get a lot of people who show a whole lot.
Dude, I need to show more on WG.
Yeah, so have you read many of them? Because you said you mostly like write anime stuff. What do you read?
I read anything and everything. I'm constantly consuming.
All right, man. Give us like a list, man. You like
what's
the last thing you read?
The last thing I've read? Well, the last thing I've read has been completely unrelated to WG.
That's fine. Go for it.
It's this isekai with this woman who turned 25, or I think she's 30 or something, and all her life.
Isekai, I like it. I like where this is going.
Yeah, and all her life she's been training, just waiting to get hit by a truck and transported into another world, but it hasn't happened. But one day it does happen, and she gets transported, but she's incredibly jaded, kind of, and like used to the tropes of an isekai, so she's pretty deadpan about things and easily is able to get over conflicts. I really didn't like that aspect of the novel, how she just was pretty blunt about everything. And there's also Yuri in it too.
Okay. I'm gonna be real, man. Okay.
Is this on Royal Road?
Yeah, it's on Royal Road, and it's also published.
I mean, published by like a real publisher or like self-published?
Oh no, self-published.
I see. I'm gonna be real with you, man. I kind of hate everything on Royal Road, respectfully.
Hey,
like sell me on your favorite piece of Royal Road fiction.
Probably Burger Punk or something. I really like that a lot. I think everyone is sleeping on that.
Dude, I read. What's the one where he threw a bunch of car batteries into the ocean?
I don't remember that chapter.
That was really funny. Honestly, that's one thing I remember.
Yeah, the entire book is funny.
Yeah, Barry, you're too shy to be on the list or shill, but maybe. Dude, just drop like a link to your book in the chat. Just do it, man. No one's judging you. I want to see some.
Yeah, shill. I'm always looking for new people to add to the list and just read their work.
Interview GC McKay. Link me to something he did so I can have like an anchor point, Donnie. So I can look at it later. Degu says, when will the trad pub meme end? Time to move on to the new age. See, I want us to decentralize publishing, right? Particularly like successful publishing. But too many dudes are like, they won't even query because a lot of them have been defeated by memes before they've even started querying. But dudes that do query will query like massive agents who get a lot of submissions and who are like specifically asking for like LGBTQ female writers. And then when they get rejected, they're so put off by the whole process, and they just throw like a really good book onto self-publishing, onto Amazon, with no prep, with no research, with no marketing or anything. And I hate to see a good book languish for no reason other than lack of preparedness. So even though like it would be great for us, for guys to be like, hey, I'm just gonna give up on TradPub, I wish people had like a more complete understanding of how to approach that. Who is Edward Mark? Edward Mark Nabe, the only self-publisher with a Wikipedia. Now there's probably like a few. Miles is still hoping for TradPub to turn itself around, which is so funny. Are you under the impression that things are going to get better, man?
Yeah, things aren't going to get better on their own.
So, I think what might happen is it's going to be an unsatisfying destruction, because these companies can get infinite loans. We live in an era of fake money. So even if all of their actual revenue starts drying up, they'll just get loans, struggle along, and there'll be like quiet restructuring where they'll say, we have to focus on just picking up successful authors and bringing them to a wider audience will be their excuse. And you're going to see that they're just going to quietly fire all the people with political agendas that aren't making money. And 40 years from now, TradPub will be the standard again, but it's going to look nothing like the current political agenda. And we're not going to get a definitive victory point.
Yeah, so querying anything shorter than 80k words doesn't help, says Andamp. He has like a bunch of books out now, by the way. Women have conquered the entire TradPub sphere. Well, yeah, because publishing pays nothing and they're all located in the big city. Who can afford to live on no salary in the big city other than like a kept woman, which is most white women? So they've conquered that space very easily. When I was looking for beta readers, editors on Goodreads, almost everyone is shilling their sensitivity reader skills. I'm not paying you to look for things to get triggered by. That's a good point. Sensitivity readers are being litigated right now. I think they're going to survive, though.
I've got a grift plan. I'm going to market myself as a sensitivity reader for science. And I will just go in there to point out when known scientific principles are completely fucking wrong in someone's story. And that's what I'll be sensitive to. And then I can say I'm a sensitivity reader.
I mean, Degu says, I think as with the end of any form of centralization, the end of TradPub will usher in an age of quiet gangster capitalism, where the most read books will be by guys with Twitter followings.
Oh, yeah. Degu knows what's up.
We're already there. If you don't want a TradPub, the alternative is to get like really Twitter famous.
I'm trying.
I'll say to Amp saying don't try to query things shorter than 80k words. That's what I mean by having to really look for guys to represent your work. Because I know, for instance, weird punk books, which is not like for us because they're extremely left wing. They're punk. But they only accept novellas. I know some other weird fiction outfits, and they're not like tiny, like moderately size publishing outfits will only take short novellas. Because the reason the big boys don't publish novellas is also the reason why small guys publish novellas. They're cheap to print. They don't sell as well, but they're really cheap to print. So you just have to. I
noticed that with my latest book, 5 to 4, which I do need to shill. That is by far the cheapest book to produce and sell. That's why the price point is so low.
Yeah, you're getting a paperback up eventually. I have just put that in the...
Whenever fucking Amazon will load the data.
Dude, I'm telling you, Ingram Spark is just such a pain in the ass, it seems like. I wish Twitter wasn't actually soul-sucking. I don't know how people do it, says Miles. It's one of the best avenues for marketing. Yeah, you can see I'm trying to do everything but start a Twitter. It's just not
yeah, for anyone watching right now that hasn't put two and two together, the guy named Unreal Press official is not official.
Oh, so that's what it was. I saw 2 Unreal Press accounts on Twitter.
Brother, there were 3. So the first Unreal Press account has been lost, the password and everything. It's just fucking gone. So then then the official account came. I don't know who's behind that. We have no idea who that is. And then my account got suspended within like a week of making it. So, so that's the last account standing, run by some literally who.
That right here, you still on the stream? That is how you know I haven't painted in a while. I just sliced my thumb open.
Gross blood.
Yeah,
that's because Ryan,
soft ass Reaper Bone Mini, the peg didn't fit the hole, so I just tried to slice it off.
That's because when you get on Twitter, you melt down and get banned. I have never melted down on Twitter. People were not prepared for the hot takes, apparently. Neither was Twitter. I think I might have called an obese person the N-word. I don't even remember. It's been so long.
That's funny.
Twitter is so gay, man. They think they're hard, but they're not hard. Because as soon as you call an obese person the N-word, they're like, oh my god, we can't have this on the platform. What you need to do is, I don't know. I think you need to, in the day you can embed yourself with like a Miles, Yiannopoulos, whatever, or the Terror House Press guys, or some chud group, and you can just get Twitter popularity by association with them. Those days are probably over.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah.
I mean, we got rid of most Twitter bots. So that's the upside.
I mean, it's a bad thing because it lessens the avenues for indies to be seen. So yeah, probably a bad thing.
Oh, by the way, you should also shill Sidearm and Sorcery too, because they published me and they just released their ebook.
Okay, I follow them on Twitter, so I can pull up like a.
I put the link in the episode idea chat.
Okay. So this guy's kind of come out of nowhere, but he's got a decent following.
I have no idea who this guy is, but he liked my writing.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. He's got a good aesthetic. He kind of hit the pulp revival thing, which is, we love that.
Dude, what has been published about Anvil magazine so far? Do you know?
Well,
we need to pull that link up and react because that's in the thumbnail. I think we have a slight obligation to discuss it.
Yeah, now that Zulu is just not going to come on the show, so 1/3 of our topics are like irrelevant. But yeah, so we can look at.
Yeah, we don't need to explain the octopus.
Yeah, no. Just use your imagination. Now you have to do what we're doing and make our own avenues. Yeah, that's what we're thinking. We've got like 2 more people trying to write Substacks now. I think that's funny. I trust Oscar to write a Substack just because he's Chinese and, those guys can work. Let's look at Story Hack. Yeah, so as you can see, they're doing like a pulp revival.
You are showing me bleeding all over a miniature. You're not showing Sidearm and Sorcery.
Now we are.
Yeah.
Now everything's kosher. So I'm just going to say it, like, starting off on the completely right foot.
That's such a sexy cover art, by the way.
Okay. It is good. It's definitely good. I'm going to say starting a secondary mag so early in the game, I don't know. I just don't know. Current state of culture is discouraging, but so many authors are. I mean,
Degu's advocating for the Griffith method of money gathering.
Dude, listen. I'm just gonna say I agree. Current state of culture is discouraging, but so many authors are making six figures. I want a piece. Only 2 books published so far, but I'm always afraid of putting myself out there, even as a void. Uh-oh.
What's a void?
My goodness. It's a female. We have some entities in Unreal that are not going to take kindly of this. I will say, the author's making 6 figures, even if we discount the like erotica and romance people who are operating in a totally different market. There's like such a process of, at some point you just have to put out 5 books in a series, even if you're getting like 2 reads, because after that things really start picking up. I don't know why, but you have to be okay with seeing no results for like the first 3-4 books in a series, which I can't do because I don't write enough for that. That would be 5 years of my life. The urban writers will pay you. I
really gotta start releasing sequels.
I tell your ass this like every week.
Dude, I need to find a cover artist I want for Dateless. Like, I have the book written and beta read, and I can finish editing it in like a week. I just don't have a guy to throw money at for cover art.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Dudes can see my trending. Oh no, I'm revealing myself as a...
Are femboys trending?
Nah, it's just like normie politics stuff. David Hogg, trans women are con men. Katie Hobbs, John Fetterman, Razorbacks and Huskies. Oh, March Madness is on. Anyway, the urban writers will pay you 1 penny per word. Okay, I mean, honestly, I could get that. I could like go for that. Because honestly, when I was doing copywriting, we were getting paid 3 cents a word. I'm sorry, 3 cents a word. So 1 cent a word is not even like depressingly low. That's just like my standard rate. So we look at Sidearm and Sorcery, which is kind of our direct competitor. So, so as far as
I'll be able to report in like a freaking spy about what their sale figures are.
Base. I mean, listen. We at Unreal Press are not about the sales. Okay, we're just trying to put authors on. But if you don't get good sales, people make fun of you, and it hurts my feelings. So,
hey, when is the nonfiction anthology closing? It's like end of this month, allegedly, right?
So Pinchon Het himself has not even fucking started his piece. So it closes April 1st, but he is definitely gonna extend that. But if you have like a little essay and no like university research papers, okay? Style over substance, but make the substance kind of cool anyway. So if you have essays, you can still send it to our email or just join the Discord and drop it there.
So once that wraps up, that's when I'm going to announce my anthology project officially. So Het has to actually like move on that, because I think it's a really bad look to have like 3 things we're taking submissions for.
Dude, so just to explain to the people watching, our usual rate for releasing books is like 1.5 per year. And so far, we've released 2 with like 3 books already announced. These books are going to run into each other just because we're not used to the process. It's going to be a little messy. They actually already ran into each other. We're going to try to like solve that though.
Hey, since we're in random subjects right now, you mind pulling up the page for 5 to 4? So I can remind people of the show going on.
Yeah, which page is that? Just the Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I just want the cover art as I'm talking about this.
Cool. So, a narrativized retelling of Elliot Rodgers' life would make a good book. Mishima did something similar with the IRL guy that burned down the Golden Temple. Interesting. Thing is, 4chan, I think, has like collectively given up on writing the great incel book. I remember when I first joined, maybe 26, the docs does come for every one of them.
Well, actually, Gardner defeated the docs. We don't know where he's living anymore. That's the trick. You just like make a name for yourself and then move, and then people will find the previous location. Could you actually? That right there is a great short little horror piece. Someone starts getting swatted because they're at the address of someone controversial used to live at.
Yeah, like a short story tier.
I don't know. You could make an entire slasher out of it.
Oh my gosh. I don't care. It's not that important. You want me to pull up the... Jeez. Did you cut yourself again?
No, So actually the thing in this world that pisses me off more than anything else, bar none, I have determined this over many years. The number one thing to get me swearing and screaming and ready to murder someone is super glue that doesn't actually fucking harden.
Oh. Well, that's the one thing. That's the one thing that gets you ready to murder somebody. I understand.
It genuinely is, because, like, trying to get these things to stick together, this is cyanoacrylate superglue. It's cyanoacrylate, CNA. It's supposed to set in 30 seconds. And, setting is a gradual process of bonds forming. It's supposed to be able to, like, hold itself, but sometimes the bottle just is mixed wrong and it doesn't have reactant, like, at all. And you can hold something together for like 3 minutes and it will still just shatter the instant you breathe wrong.
Yeah, so F. Gardner is actually his name. His name is Francis Gardner Barry. So was it confirmed that he's using a set and he stopped making videos because the lease ran out? Nothing's been confirmed, but that's a very funny idea. Like, there's so many like theories, hypotheses about why he stopped making videos, and obviously someone's put his home on 4chan. Like, every F. Gardner thread has somebody putting up pictures of his old house, including the exact same set, which is funny because the furniture's still there. So I don't know what that means.
I missed him making videos. His videos were so interesting.
They were great, just 30 minutes of noise content, honestly. He's the Eggman of lit. Oh, man. Maybe he's got a wife like Eggman, and he leaves us all behind.
Well, hold on. Who's Eggman? Is this a Sonic reference or something else?
Nah, it's Eggy. Somebody says Miles. Yeah, we know who it is. Brandon Sanderson is to Mormons what cradle Catholics are to Catholicism. That goes right over my head. Yeah, so Eggman is a R9K lolcow from, like, 9 years ago. He was bald. He was bald and ugly. And he made videos about, like, being bald and ugly sucks ass. So he got famous for that.
What?
Yeah. You used to be able to do that. Like, R9K had a bunch of lolcows. There was Kenny, the little short black guy, Eggman. But Eggman got a girlfriend. And he
Alright, so are you going to believe me if I say I've actually never in my life been on R9K?
I mean, I believe you. R9K has been unusable since 2015, so I would believe anyone. He was method writing for his next meta novel. God, I hope so.
Oh, dude. So actually, I was talking with someone today. I came up with a better version of the novel they were writing that they don't want to write. So I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to steal this idea. The premise to this novel is it is a two-perspective narrative between two investigative journalists. One which is leaving, which is like sending reports and articles about this guy that they're stalking down and like reporting on, like presumably like actual and hard-hitting investigative journalism on political corruption or something.
Yeah.
But he's sending in all these articles about like the blatantly illegal things he's doing to get the truth out there, and that's epistolary style that he just keeps sending in these emails. The actual protagonist is his boss trying to track him down because they have no idea where he is, how he's getting money, and all the illegal stuff he's doing to get the story out there. So the character that's actually the protagonist is trying to figure out where he is based on the contents of the emails alone.
Interesting. Is this like a Memento thing?
Oh, you mean the movie Memento?
Yeah.
I think it's impossible to use Memento as a comparison to anything. Memento is such a unique story.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be a hipster and call that Nolan's best, but it's pretty good. So, I mean, does this guy know you're jacking his idea?
I told him to do it, and then he said, "No, this is for something else." And my immediate response was, "If you're not doing it, I'm stealing the idea." Okay, thanks.
Guy forgot to patent his idea. You got to get the idea patent.
Dude, people don't understand what patents, copyright, and trademark are. It is so pervasive that people just don't understand what it is.
Yeah, all of my ideas are automatically copyrighted. You can't steal them. It's the law. It's the law.
Okay, you are muddying the waters right there. Everything you've ever written is copyrighted and cannot be stolen. It does not matter in what form you've put it up. Any work of art you've ever produced is under your copyright.
Yeah, ideas are nearly a dime a dozen anyways, says Miles.
Yes, ideas have no protection at all. None, zero. You can rip off an idea to any extent.
Sounds kind of Chinese to me. So, I mean, are you going to write this after 3 sequels, right? You're going to first pen 3 sequels to all your series, and then you're going to write this idea.
Possibly. So, genuinely, I do have I am trying to get a cover artist for Dateless, and I already have the 3rd book written, drafted anyways. And that's Sightless. That's a serial killer piece. And I do intend to write the sequel to Ship of Fools this year, and if I can squeeze it in, I'm going to write the sequel to Infinite Money Glitch, which is going to be based on Venezuelan hyperinflation with a mix of RuneScape. And that will be called Give Me Your Hat.
So you are writing a sequel to that. I forgot if I asked you that in our interview. I don't think you were doing it at the time.
Well, the thing is that, it was a lot of fun to write. The story was completely wrapped up. But, the inspiration for Infinite Money Glitch was real world events. It was the shit show that was the GameStop short squeeze. And what I realized as time went by is that if I just wait, someone in the financial industry will do something obscenely stupid like the FTX scandal. And they're basically just writing my next story for me.
Clever. So AMP magazine is apparently public domain. I think I knew that actually. I don't know if you can declare something to be public domain. Can I declare other people's things to be public domain? This is important. What's a fool? Daegu wants to know.
The fool. What the fuck is a fool? Well, it is a very blatant reference to the Plato's allegory of democracy is a ship of fools in the dark. And the premise of the book is basically 1,000 people are on a unarmed refugee ship, and they all start killing each other over who it should be the captain, making the decisions that determine basically if they'll survive. And most of the people on the ship get killed because of infighting and has nothing to do with the decisions of the captain.
Interesting. But did you tell us why it was spelled that way in that?
Search engine optimization. Because if I had titled it actually Ship of Fools, I would be competing with Tucker Carlson.
Okay. I thought about pubbing all my books as public domain as well, solely to prevent anyone from ruining my stories after my death.
That is the exact opposite of how that works, Miles. If it's public domain, they can defile it.
Trust me, Miles, I will be ruining your stories after your death. You don't have to worry about that. All
right, so back to a side note about superglue and rubber. so these minis are Reaper Bones. They're the cheapest crap money can buy because each of them is like 40 cents. And so what happens is, like, if you have, in this case, a ogre that has both of his feet on the ground like they normally do, it has to create a triangle that you're gluing together. And there are sockets for the feet in the base. But when they mold it and they pop it out of the mold and they ship it to you, the feet on the figure end up a different width than the size of the base. So I'm fighting internal tension because this thing wants to spring out right now. And I'm afraid if I let go too soon, it will just break. And if I let go too late, I will lose chunks of my flesh to the super glue. You can see which way I'm favoring right now. Skin grows back.
I mean, just leave it there until the end of the show.
I'm not surprised Uncle Ted has an essay about that as well. It's a 3,000-year-old allegory. Well, not 3,000. It's, 2.3 thousand? Whatever. It is the most famous complaint of democracy.
I get what Miles is saying, though, with the Tolkien estate. Because the Tolkien estate and what Dahl's editors are doing is basically you can create a new definitive version of the book without the author's permission. If you public domain it, then that thing you created is always... Everything after that will be an update or a parody or some sort.
No, that's not how public domain works. For the same reason that Superman's going into public domain. But what happens with Superman going in public domain is the character as portrayed in the first comic becomes public domain. And none of the plot points and characters created by later iterations of Superman, which were made under copyright, those characters independently have to come into public domain. So what will happen is the original Roald Dahl will enter the public domain. In original, people will be able to retype from physical copies they've saved the original books into public domain in 30 years or whatever. But the censored version will still be protected by copyright until 70 years from today. Which is incredibly stupid and is not how the law is supposed to work, but you do not have the money to fight a publishing company in the court of law.
I mean, they have ways of getting around any sort of fair use policy. Like,
it's the Mickey Mouse exception.
Yeah, like we have a copyright strike right now for a 250-year-old orchestral piece. This is because what they copyrighted was a performance that is only like 60 years old. And this is how a lot of copyright strikes are done, apparently. It's very... I'm not going to say which ethnicity this behavior belongs to, but I'm going to say it's very annoying.
Well, that's the exact same reason that if you do a cover of the song, even if you didn't write the song, you did the cover, you are the one that can upload it. So if you upload yourself playing Metallica's One, Metallica can't give you a takedown notice because literally you're the one playing it. It's yours.
Mm.
I bring that up as an example because there were those, literally like the preteen girls that were jamming to that song and they got invited to meet the band. Which is a pretty cool news story from a couple years ago.
Yeah, you can call that a pretty cool news story. Let's pretend they had only pure motives for doing that. Anyway.
I would assume they do. Genuinely, the old geezer bands that are still functioning, they're just normal people that treat it as a job.
All right, so no Steven Tyler stuff going on there?
AMP, I don't think that's true. Because people get advertising revenue off YouTube for doing covers.
Okay, so this is interesting. Passage Prize announced their winners. By the way, it would be really funny because we don't really have the equipment to react to how embarrassing the poetry winners were from last year. I read that Substack Moldbug put up. Really soured me on the whole endeavor, even though I haven't read the fiction. But let's look at that for a second.
Sure.
Let me see if I can dox myself further tonight by sharing my screen again.
All right, by the way, I've run out of miniature stuff for the night, so I'm going to turn the webcam off, and I'm going to mog Miles by holding a conversation while writing.
Okay. Oh, so this is a writing stream now. Okay. I guess I can minimize this now.
So you're going to have to display your own screen.
Yeah, I don't have anything to display. I'm just doing it's just 3 dudes talking right now.
Yeah, I desperately need to build a backlog for Undying Emperor. Even though I went down to 1 chapter a week, because I'm a masochist and an idiot, I guess, I've decided to make my chapters longer. So I'm almost putting out the same word count week over week. So I basically haven't gained much of anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just flipping through these comments right now. So you can barely even have enough time to read what I put up. So Passage Prize will also publish Yarvin's upcoming book, Gray Mirror. Is that nonfiction or fiction? I mean, that seems like a ridiculous question. It's obviously nonfiction, but it'd be interesting because I imagine Passage Prize's output, despite being part of this initiative to be the culture instead of just critiquing the culture, their output is probably going to be a bunch of nonfiction that functions as cultural critique. Antelope Hill, even though I'm not going to say anything. Antelope Hill does have a fiction imprint, but they're basically it. The weight is, I don't see anything here. Oh, the mega thread, 5 hours ago. Cool. Now, does this still have the $10,000 in Bitcoin prize attached? Maybe I should have got in on this.
All right, so hold on. Passage Prize is what, new people? This isn't a trad thing?
This is 0 HP Lovecraft, Curtis Yarvin, and Raw Egg Nationalist now, apparently. They're coming together. They've put up this magazine that's supposed to be the best and brightest, the best that contemporary right-wing literature has to offer. And the one I read, the poetry entries were, they were just really not very good. But that's only the poetry. It's a modern version of The Prince, serving as a guide for any future king of America on how to obtain power and how to rule. Oh, okay. This is what Yarvin's book is about. First prize is a measly $1,500. Third is $1,000. Okay.
Oh, that reminds me. Do you know Bane books?
Probably if I see him, I'll know him. I think I've been down that rabbit hole. Actually, did you share that today?
Yeah, because they have a short story contest that is accepting submissions to the end of April that I'm going to submit to. Their grand prize is $500
Lord.
worth of ebooks that they publish.
Wait. $500 worth of, like, a $500 store credit?
Yes.
Oh my, that's the grand prize?
That's the grand prize.
Come on,
don't get me wrong, that's an actual prize. We can't be throwing stones too bad, but
if they're a major publisher, I'm going to throw stones, man.
I don't think they're major.
That's a GameStop ass prize.
I think they're like one step above Hannity.
Oh, one step. Okay. Honestly, $500 of store credit at Bane's Books feels more like a chore than a prize. Feels like a workout.
I mean, I'm gonna do it just because, but like, literally because of connections at Iron Age Media, I can get any Bane ebook I want anyways. But the problem is they're ebooks, and you cannot pay me to read an ebook.
I mean, I read a lot of ebooks, but they're not like I didn't pay for them. I actually might prefer reading on my Nook to like buying paperbacks, but
tell you what, bro, if I win, I will just chill out the ebooks to the Unreal Bros, because like it's gonna be genre fic that I barely read anymore.
Well, what I'm looking at now is their catalogs, see if they've got anything worth reading. Yeah, so Tookie's mag is saying Bane. He thinks Bane is pretty big, like second tier. I don't know. I've never.
There's only 3 tiers. There's like the big boys, the second tier, and then there's Vanity Press. So saying they're one step above a Vanity Press is still accurate. I'm just saying.
I don't know. We need like 8 tiers for like both magazines and publishers. Like Tor is on a different tier than Penguin.
Yo, publishing house tier list video.
Oh my god!
And expose how little we know of the publishing industry.
Exactly. Like I'm just listening to 2 publishers I know by heart and being like, yeah, they're probably different levels of publisher.
Let's do a tier list video about publishers' logos. Let's completely judge them by the quality of their logo.
All right. Well, number 1 is going to be Penguin. So let's just get that out of the way now. No shot.
Yeah, I agree. I like their logo.
Logo's baller.
Did a penguin really write those books?
Well, a penguin judged them to be classics. It's pretty high praise.
All right, that brings up something worth discussing, I think. As independent writers grow and trad dies, there obviously one of the big missing links in success is reviewers.
Yes.
And that obviously needs to grow, and people need to do that. And people have already there's lots of people doing it. What I think no one is really approaching is anyone taking on the position of like a quality check, which is slightly different from being a reviewer, right? There's a lot of overlap, of course, but
right.
You know, I don't actually like Sidearm and Sorcery. I don't know how many submissions he turned down. Like, I literally may have just been, one of the 10 people that submitted, and he took all 10. There's no real way to know.
Well, so what are you expecting a quality checker to do in this situation?
If I had it completely figured out, I'd tell you, oh, well, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what's going to make me famous. But it's things like what I'm planning to do, which is with the unannounced anthology I'm going to be doing after the nonfic anthology. The reason I don't want to have a deadline for that is because I want to keep it open until I say I have 50,000 good words to put out there. I don't want to get hung up by, I said I would have it out by this time, so I'm going to have to work with what I got. I'm going to say it goes out when I say it's good. And similarly, I think people that if someone can get into editing, and they can get there, because editing takes less time than writing, significantly less time. If that person can build a presence and get some recognition where they get to a point of, yeah, I edited Joe Schmo's book that's coming out. It got through me. It's a good book. Whereas in the indie sphere right now, nobody edits except like Grammarly. Well, and the problem obviously is because it's expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like you're asking for rather than like an editor's seal of approval, like a tastemaker, any sort of magazine that has a credibility that puts out, okay, we collect 5 of the actually good releases from the past month or so. That's what the indie scene is lacking. Even word of mouth, because everybody's in shill mode, so you can't really take anyone at face value.
That may just be a big chip on my shoulder because of Twitter. Like, my God, the worst writers you'll ever encounter sound like the best writers on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're...
You just can't take the writer at face value.
Yeah. So, to Miles and Donnie, we're definitely going to do a tier list vid at some point. I mean, tier list vids were in the docket like in March of 2022, so we'll get around to it. I didn't know Cliff Lee Sargent had a pay to review tier. That's interesting to me, not for my book, but when we publish not independent stuff, when guys sell us their books, right? I have an entire plan for the rollout that includes getting a lot of reviews, including YouTube. So that's something to keep in mind for later. Amp likes your idea for a boss reviewer / editor. Well, that's what we need.
I mean, that goes against the idea of Amp, so I think he's screwing with me.
Well, the Amp extends. Well, I mean, there's also the Amp best of, and I think the physical release of Amp doesn't include every story. That's what I've heard. He means it.
So, like, genuinely, I do think that I want to get into editing. The problem is I'm not exactly a people person. I don't know if you've noticed that or not.
Yeah, you're gonna give somebody some type of feedback in a manner they don't appreciate, and they're gonna slander you in the reviews, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah, which is why I'm not rushing to do it. But I basically have told multiple people that if they want me to edit their book for money, like I wouldn't be doing it for free, except for the first person to ask. I will do it pro bono as proof of concept. But like I don't want to go chasing down clients because I want people to come to me because that says that A, they are familiar with my work and they think I write to what they want their writing to be like. Because there's lots of styles out there and I am one and I'm obviously still getting better. And I want people to actually take my critiques seriously. I don't want to just get written off as, oh, it's just James's opinion.
Right.
Because a lot of like free critique you get on, say, WG gets ignored.
How about you critique my story? I'll be your first client.
Yeah.
You'd have to finish a novel intended for monetary publication, not Royal Road.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. You would absolutely mog the Unknown Marine if you did that. And that would be his fault because I told him that he was supposed to be the first one and he just hasn't finished a book in like 4 months now.
Yeah, I agree with Toogie that most of the reviewers we have now are complete ass kissers. And you can't, I mean, you lose all credibility if you like everything. Just like a taste, well, the thing is, like a guy like Razor Fist would have to put in the legwork to actually signal which one of these endless flood of shilled books is actually worth reading.
Well, that's part of the thing, though, is they're supposed to kind of be a funnel. What you really want is layers of reviewers, where you have people that will just review anything. And then you have people that look at the books that those people said were good, and then they pass judgment on them. And then the books that second layer says was good gets onto like Razor Fist's megaphone. That's how you theoretically want it to work. Because Razor Fist does not have the time to read, 1,000 shit novels that are sent to him. That would be insane. It would destroy his entire platform if he did that.
Maybe, but also he, as someone who's spearheading a supposed literary and artistic movement, he has a responsibility to both the people he's selling to and the artists he's supposedly representing. Okay, so Amp says he doesn't copy edit Amp magazine. which I find really funny considering how much shit I have gotten in some of the releases of our anthologies for certain misfires in editing. Don't you know ChatGPT will take away all the editing jobs?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I've tried to use ChatGPT as a little assistance. I haven't found it very useful. Also, somebody has a squeaking noise in the background.
I apologize. My dog found her squeaky toy.
Oh, okay.
I thought you would be sleeping this time of night. It's like almost bedtime.
Has anyone read any writing from Razor Fist? Do we have that?
No, but I mean to, because he got them on Audible. Yeah, you can get them as audiobooks, but I still haven't finished Shadow of the Torture. I still got like 4 hours of that waiting for me.
Oh, dude. By the time you finish it, I'm going to have to like refresh.
Yeah, sorry, man. I work from home. I don't have long commutes to listen to books to anymore.
Oh, yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, I've seen like some Razor Fist content, like very little. Hopefully, I don't think he's one of the 7 people watching this, so I find him really obnoxious. I don't think I'd enjoy his reading.
Yeah, so I've made it myself very clear. I feel like I got burned hard by Shadow the Conqueror.
Oh.
So I actually have to recalibrate that. These people that made careers on YouTube that's probably evidence they can't write very well. It takes too much skill building to succeed as video making that there isn't enough time in the day to actually get good at writing.
Honestly, I just think a small sliver of the population is capable of writing in an appeasing manner, and like the sample of YouTubers we've had access to is unlikely to also be exceptional YouTube personalities and exceptional writers. So there's no hope really. But you could at least, like, everyone shits on Sanderson, but at least it's not like torture to get through his work. His stupid.
No, it's quite the opposite of Sanderson. The people crap on it because it's too easy. Is essentially what a lot of people complain about. I gotta be real. One of the stories I am most engaged with and most driven to read more of is written like dog shit. And that is Grimgar, A Fantasy in Ash.
Oh.
That's a poorly written Japanese light novel, poorly translated to English. And the writing is crap, but the characters are not. And I'm just completely enthralled with Hard Hero's story. So I think it's actually a really strong example of like the actual prose is genuinely not the end of the story when it comes to the book's quality.
Yeah, you've shilled Grimgar before, I think. I don't know, if it's a translation, especially like a translation of like a Japanese novel.
Oh, the fundamental writing is bad. Trust me.
Oh, okay.
There will be like 3 pages of people being stupid and bantering. And like, there's a character Ranta that literally everyone hates him, but he's good enough in a fight that they keep him around, basically. And he just is stupid in conversations. That's not a translation error. That just is what the content of the book is. But you still end up deeply caring about the characters because of the struggle and the self-reflection and the perseverance.
I like Razor Fist for a libertarian. He's a good introduction to noir films. Sanderson, Plot First Bros. We're so back. It honestly never ended for Plot First Bros. They're cleaning up. Is this a good meta idea for Twitter discourse if y'all were to review the Passage Prize anthology book? Oh, if you front us $450, because that's what it cost to buy the Passage Prize anthology. Yeah. I guess, do they have like no, they don't have an ebook. No, I think it's literally like $400 to buy that book.
Jesus.
It would be great for publicity. We spent $400 on this book. I took out a loan on my terrible credit.
I mean, what are these for, like, novels that we'd be expected to read?
Passage Prize is just right now it's one collection, like one COVID era. It's like our old anthologies.
Oh, but it's short stories and they're charging $400?
Short stories.
It's that good?
Poetry and nonfiction, yeah. That good is... Listen, I read Yarvin's justification for his poetry selections. They're not good. So, if that's any indication...
Dude, we gotta get Frater Oslam to do, like... Obviously, he will not ever join a voice stream.
Right.
But we could probably get him to do a write-up of the quality assessment of the poetry. If we can get that for less than $400. Yeah,
he was there when we first saw that article, and he was very mean. Absolute state of brokers. Yeah, it do be like that, man.
Yeah, I just read Ezra Pound's ABC of Reading. And the actual proof of how good poetry can be opened my tired eyes, because so much poetry is so bad that I more or less refused to even try to get into it because so much of it is just so bad.
What have you read in the past?
Well, actually, now that I think about it, the shit that public education made me read. Which I guess I shouldn't be shocked was bad, considering I had, mildly woke teachers that were, literally word for word, they said, we're changing the curriculum to be less dead white guys and give more diverse perspectives. And they gave I even back then, I was a little piece of shit where I stood up in class and I was just like, shouldn't we be reading good books though? Like, the book you gave us is bad though. This is a bad book. Why are we reading this?
Yeah, so Spencer's apparently in the chat and we came to the same reaction. Mentioning Pound is ground for like 3-hour-long arguments. Every time it happens. Is Yarvin's poetry any good? I read one thing, I think, about the Iraq War, or was it Syria? From like the perspective of a tank. It was like an essay. Essentially, it was just an essay. Neil, age 6. Craig is a huge rupee fan.
What's a rupee? And don't say Indian currency.
Rupee core.
Is there more to that explanation?
And no, she's an Indian author that makes Instagram captions and sells them as poetry books. So Gabriel Sinclair in the Discord is saying that Pound carried the entire lit scene of the 20s on his back.
I mean, there was a very small cabal of influential authors. They all drank together.
Yeah, I think we have more. Gosh, I don't know why his name is... No, T.S. Eliot. We have T.S. Eliot to thank for poetry of the last 80 years. Because he was directly involved in the CIA operation to establish American letters as superior to their European counterparts. And he basically selected individually all of the major poets we study now in the creation of this curriculum, for lack of a better term. This music's kind of loud. There you go. No, Pound was
interesting. I didn't know that piece of history.
I need to make a video on the cultural Cold War and the creation of American literary fiction. Yeah, so Pound was very cool. Only thing I've seen from Pound, besides 2 pages of the Cantos, is his radio show. I've heard and read a few excerpts. They're very funny. He's a very funny guy. He was living in a Italian castle on the dole of the great Benito Mussolini.
Dude, that could be good podcast material. You should do it.
We should talk about Italian fascism. Is that, or do you want us to talk about Ezra Pound?
I mean, Ezra Pound was literally a Mussolini fanboy that went over there, right? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Nope, you're thinking of the right guy.
Yeah, like there's a really surprising overlap there.
Yeah, Ezra Pound and Italian fascism. The best thing Ezra Pound produced was his, I think, the award acceptance speech. There was some Century Award for great writing. Gosh, and I can't even find his acceptance speech. He's hilarious.
Dude, has anyone since Mussolini challenged journalists to sword fights successfully?
I mean, it sounds like something the last king of Scotland would do. I forgot. Idi Amin. It sounds like something he would do. But I don't think so. I don't know. There's some great
I got respect for someone that calls up a journalist and is just like, duel me.
It's honestly extremely based. Make your haters fight you in real life. There's some great Italian fash poetry. You should link some in the chat so I can bookmark that if you can. Yeah. Have we? Yeah, we've basically... Now Spencer is in the freaking chat instead of, because people keep asking. I mean, they don't keep asking, but we had a couple people asking, like, where is this guy? So that's funny. So as we wind down, I guess I'm going to put the things you have to show in the chat one more time, which is your book. And then we have Tales. And we didn't do an interview this week. Yeah, Spencer's raising his kids. That's a greatly inferior task to making podcast episodes with randoms. So that's 5 to 4, aka Suspension Space, which I thought was a better title. Although
I understand it being, it's sounding cooler and such, but yeah. I went for typography on the cover.
Oh, okay. And that's Tales of the Unreal. We finally got some traction on one of our publications. It was really awesome. The sequel comes out in June. If you have horror or weird fiction or poetry or a book review, submit it to our email or just submit to the Discord.
Dude, one of these days I really got to write my Lovecraftian Wendigo horror story.
One of those days is like within the next month, so it can be in the second anthology.
No, I want it to be like 40,000 words.
Oh, okay.
Like I've actually been thinking I should do it soon because the biggest issue was I was terrified of the idea that I had to make like 100-person village of hillbillies, and they're explicitly supposed to be like mildly inbred families, and just generating that was scarier than any book I could conceive of. But ChatGPT can do that for me now.
Oh boy.
With AI, anything is possible.
Well, yeah, come up with 100 names for West Virginian hillbillies in the 1920s.
Yeah, so shout out to Chicken World. Friend of the show, Amp editor. I think his name is KTKR Hartley. That's his pseudonym right now. He's got like 3 books out. I don't know if he wrote them with a robot or something, but he's got 3 books out. Guy Hayes wants to remind all of our people submitting to use styles and not tabs. I don't know what that means, but do what he says. Tukey's has a 2,000
He is memeing you so hard. If you get submissions using styles, they will not compile correctly.
Oh. Tukey's has a 2,000-word article on the time I had dinner with James Creek at a shitty Chinese restaurant and cried at his lack of culture. He's going to submit that.
I welcome this because the more misinformation about my private life there is, the better.
Billy Bob 100X, only MS Word users will... I'm too poor for MS Word, as you can tell from being not being able to afford that Passage Prize hardcover. So I think that's it. 2.5 hours. 1.5 hours reading a 2,000 word article.
All right, so Miles, I hope you're still in the chat because I owe you an apology. I was not able to continue bantering and also write. I only got 300 words down.
Not as easy as it looks, huh?
Dude, Paint, it's so much easier to talk in Paint. I will have more ready for painting next week.
Writing is the opposite of relaxing. There's nothing you can do other than that. No, it's because I have to delete all the indentation tabs. If they use paragraph styles, with the first line indent, it's easier. Okay. But it don't matter, really. It does matter. Use paragraph styles. All good, man. It's fun to balance both, is what Miles says. What he means to say is, get owned, fag. Thanks for coming to the live stream, people. Do you have anything to, like, chill, try, detect? Do you have anything, like, to sell people?
Dude, you have a Royal Road. Share that.
Yeah. Do you want me to link it in chat?
Yeah.
In the StreamYard chat.
Well, you could do either or.
I mean, you should have it set up so that people can't just post links in the live chat. You have that set up, don't you?
No. No.
Dude, there is so many automated porn bots and crypto bots and just malware bots that will show up and ruin your day.
Why would I ban people from showing me a good time, man? I think as people are filtering out, you might want to share that now.
Okay, I'll post it.
Yeah, just post it. Click his link.
I need more readers. Anything?
Yeah, man.
Critique.
Click his link. Read his stuff. See if you like it. What are those? Okay, but where are those porn bots though? That's what I'm asking, dude. What?
Literally, we don't have enough subscribers. It happens at 1,000 unmonetized streams.
Damn, son. Okay. Time to buy some subscriber bots so we can attract the porn bots. Even the porn bots want a guy with some money, huh? Okay. Oh, I was muted. Thank you for showing up to the live stream.
Hey, hell yeah, Guy Hayes.
Gun up at 5 to 4 in egregore. Gonna buy when income tax comes in. Oh, tax returns. I wish I got one of those. Thank you all for coming out to the stream. See you guys next Thursday, same time. Adios.
Hold on, are you just not going to share his link? Like,
I thought he read. Dude, come on.
Try to check. Come on, man.
What? I posted it.
Oh, you
Where?
posted it? Where?
Yeah,
I see nothing.
Oh, I guess it's gonna populate in like a second or something.
I think you got filtered for being a link.
Oh, shiz.
Post it in the StreamYard and have the channel owner repost it.
All right, I'm posting it in the StreamYard.
Copy link address. All right, it's there. All right, everything is good. I'm gonna leave like 30 seconds for people to click if we have to filter out. I've been Rhyme/JH Davis. I have nothing to plug. Join the Discord. Adios.